found it. After weeks of searching, you finally located the record that should prove who your great-great-grandfather was. You click the image, it loads, and your heart sinks. It looks like a tangle of spiders dipped in ink. You think, I cannot read a single word of this. So hello, and welcome back to Untangling Family History. I'm Helen Rimmer, and I want to tell you something right now. What you're feeling is completely normal. Even professional genealogists have moments where they have to squint, tilt their heads, and walk away for a cup of tea. Reading old handwriting isn't a magic gift, it's a skill. And today I'm going to show you exactly how to start building that skill so you can stop feeling overwhelmed and start uncovering your family story. Now, first of all, let's be kind to ourselves. If you're struggling, it's not because the writing is messy. There are so many factors at play. We're dealing with different letter forms, like the long S that looks like an F. We're dealing with clerks and priests who were in a hurry, perhaps writing by candlelight with a quill that needed sharpening. Then there's the paper itself. It might be stained, faded, or the ink might have bled from the other side. In Irish and English records, you have the hurdle of unfamiliar abbreviations, Latin terms, or even just the way people spoke. A clerk in 1820 wrote what he heard, which means spellings were often phonetic. It's a lot to take in, but once we break it down, it becomes a puzzle you can solve. When you see a full page of script, don't try to read it like a book from top left to bottom right. That's the quickest way to get a headache. Instead, go hunting for anchors. Look for the words you already know. Dates usually follow a predictable pattern. Column headings like name, age, or occupation are often written more clearly. In a baptism register, look for the word of or son of. By identifying the words you recognise, you start to get a feel for the specific writer's style. You're warming up your brain to their font. And this is my favourite trick, building a mini alphabet. If you see a capital letter in a surname that looks like a jumbled loop, don't guess. Scan the rest of the page. Does the clerk write the word Saturday or September elsewhere? If that S matches your mystery letter, you've just cracked the code. Compare an uncertain K with a known kingdom or Kent. Use the writer's own work to teach yourself their alphabet. Historical records are very repetitive. They are administrative forms, and clerks loved their formulas. Baptisms almost always go date, child's name, father's name, mother's name, and maybe her maiden name, abode, and occupation, or a combination of. Census returns follow rigid columns. If you can't read the occupation, look at the neighbours. If they were all ag-labs, there's a high chance your ancestor was too. Wills use legal boilerplate language, like I give and bequeath. When you know what the record should say, the handwriting often magically starts to make sense, and that can help you build that alphabet. Now, let's look for some usual suspects that trip everyone up. The long S. It looks like a lowercase f, but without the full crossbar. It's common in the middle of words like blessing or Essex. R and V. In some 19th century hands, an R can look like a V and vice versa. The Minims. These are the little vertical strokes that make up an M, an N, a U, and an I, if written sloppily. The word William can look like a row of identical zigzags. Capital L, S, T, and F. Now, these look incredibly similar. They always compare them to a word you are 100% sure of. For those of you researching in Ireland, there are a few extra layers. Now, first of all, Catholic registers were often kept in Latin. James becomes Jacobus and Mary becomes Maria. Second, townland names. These are often written phonetically by English-speaking clerks listening to Irish-speaking farmers. A townland might be spelled 3 different ways on the same page. So don't forget abbreviations. Adar may be Ardagh, maybe Ardh, or County Tipperary might just be Co-Tip. If a place name looks strange, grab a gazetteer or a map from the period and see if you can find a phonetic match. Over in English records, you'll often run into occupational shorthand. In the censuses, we will see FWK for framework knitter, MS for male servant, or FS for female servant. In wills, you might see messuage, meaning a dwelling house, or appurtenances. These aren't just messy words, they are specific legal and social terms. If you see a word that looks like it's in another language, it might just be an old-fashioned English job title. And here are some quick-fire practical tips for your next research session. Zoom out. Sometimes looking at the white space around the letters helps the word pop. Adjust the contrast. If the ink is faded, turning up the contrast or lowering the brightness on your screen can make the writing lift off the page. Transcribe exactly what you see. If a letter looks like a 7, write a 7. Don't try to make a word yet. Just get the shapes down. Say it out loud. Seriously, read the letters phonetically. Often your ears will recognise a name or place that your eyes don't. And take a break. If you're frustrated, walk away. Fresh eyes are the best tool in genealogy. And what not to do. A few danger zones to avoid. Don't force it. Don't make a name fit just because you want it to be your ancestor. Don't trust the index blindly. Online transcriptions are great, but they are made by humans and AI. And they make mistakes. Always look at the original image. Don't read in isolation. The context of the words around it is your biggest clue. Now let's try one together. Look at the date. We see October and 12. Easy. Look at the headings. This is a baptism. The child's name, it starts with a capital C, compare it to the word church at the top. It's Catherine. The father's occupation, it looks like weaver. Weaver. Let's check other entries. Yes, there are 3 other weavers on this page, and the V and E match perfectly. The abode, it looks like Blyth. A quick check of a local map confirms there's a Blythe Street nearby. Done. We didn't guess, we proved it. And when to ask for help. Now, remember, you don't have to do this alone. There are amazing communities on Facebook, Reddit, and at local archives where people love to help decode records. When you ask for help, always show the whole image, not just a tiny cropped word, or as much as you're legally allowed to show. We need to see other letters before comparing the handwriting. Closing encouragement for you. Old handwriting is a bridge to your ancestors. It's their names written down by someone who might have known them. Every word you decode is a victory. It takes patience and it takes practice, but I promise you, you will get better at this. Now I want to hear from you. What is one word, name, or record type that is currently driving you crazy? Drop it in the comments below, and maybe the Untangling Family History community can help you solve the puzzle. If this video helps you feel a little more confident, please hit the like and subscribe buttons for more tips on your family history journey. Until next time.